Welcome to another episode of a large model Showman's engine. This one is part 55. Refitting the modified check valve to the boiler, a quick repair to the coal shovel, and considering a steam-powered water pump. And by that I don't mean instead of the injector, I mean as well as. I can't be sure that the injector is going to work, I'm fairly confident, but you never really know with some injectors, they can be problematic. It's time to refit the check valve to the boiler. Before refitting the rebuilt check valve to the boiler, I'm going to do two things. One is clean out the hole into the boiler using a file like this. And here, using a sharp knife, I'm trimming the gasket to make sure none of it is in the way of the water passage. One more quick clean with the file and that should be okay. Before fitting the check valve, I think it's time for a quick clean up of the area. Coal-fired traction engines and steam locomotives, generally speaking, are very dirty things, and a lot of the parts are covered with a mixture of ash, coal dust and steam oil. I intend to repair the paintwork around this area. This clip shows the new gasket that I made, and I'm checking that the hole in the centre is exactly in the centre of the flange. And the good news is, it's a perfect fit, as indeed the gasket is on the check valve, so when I put it all back together, hopefully there shouldn't be any restriction to the flow of the water from the injector into the boiler. This is not in the right sequential order. I did touch in the paintwork on the wrapper before I fitted the gasket. Yes, I know it's not perfect, but this is not a new engine. I'm going to put it down to patina. What, no Barco? Yes, this was one rare instance when it was easier to use a small spanner. It's extremely hot today. As I'm in the sun, I'm getting very hot. The metal beading around the canopy is too hot to touch. All that's left to do now for the moment is to tighten the pipe onto the check valve. After this, I pushed the traction engine back into the garage, set the alarm and locked the door. Then as quickly as possible, I went into the workshop and set the air conditioning unit to number 11. This is a small job that is overdue. I made this shovel a while back, and as you can see, the lock nut has actually split. Because this is a Showman's engine, it's quite difficult to use a straight shovel, or at least one with a long handle. This was a quick fix. I refitted the handle in the correct position and then put a union nut on the inside, tightening it securely with one of the larger Barco spanners that I've just bought. Here you can clearly see what I mean by the angle of the handle. It's not straight onto the shovel blade. This allows me to put the coal into the fire hole from the right hand side. The fire hole door is lifted up using this long piece of rod. The next thing I want to look at is this superb pump. I've had this pump for quite a few years and I bought it from my good friend Don English. And it's beautifully made. It works perfectly. I haven't run it for a couple of years, so I'll connect an air line to it. And it immediately bursts into life. I completely forgot that this had an oil pump. And this is the oil coming out of the exhaust pipe that I applied with my oil can. The design of this pump is how Don used to make them, with individual outlets for each of the steam chest valves. For demonstration purposes, the water outlet of this pump is fitted with a valve so you can choke off the water. The plastic clamp is holding the water inlet pipe into a small plastic tub. And as soon as the pump starts, it clears the air from the pipe and starts to pump water. This pump is not as big as a Southworth 12-inch pump, but it's big enough to satisfy the needs of this boiler on the traction engine. As far as I'm aware, traction engines don't normally have this type of pump fitted. Time for a bit of slow motion. With the exhaust beats being in slow motion and dropped in pitch, it's very easy to hear just how even the beats are. If I increase the speed of the pump, the pressure of the water coming out of the outlet pipe is splashing all over the place. It is at quite a high pressure. When I increase the speed further, the vibration caused by the water hitting the water in the tub dislodges the water feed pipe to the pump. All it's doing at the moment is pumping air and a little bit of water that was in the water chest. As soon as I put the end of the pipe back in the water, it immediately starts to pump water. Time to stop playing with the pump and think about how to fit it to the engine. Obviously the water bypass assembly needs to be removed entirely. I will need to make a special adapter to combine these two water outlets into one much larger pipe. A bit of simple machining and some silver soldering should do the job. The good thing about this pump is its footprint. I don't mean the piece of wood on the bottom of it, that's just to stop it from falling over. When I take a measurement from the front of the base to the rear of the water cylinder, the digital caliper shows it to be 35mm. When I take a measurement from the centre of the base to the rear of the water cylinder, that's 25mm, so I think the pump will be a good fit on the traction engine. It's not too big and it's not too small. I think I'll modify the exhaust outlet, which at the moment feeds a 3/16 pipe, to make it feed a 1/4 inch pipe. It will look better and exhaust the engine more efficiently. Back outside into the heat, and I thought I'd show you this. It's a very simple idea. I opened up the bent ring on the end of the rod, so I can hook it onto the steering wheel handle. This fully opens the fire hole door, and it's very useful. It saves me having to hold it open when I'm firing the engine when it's stationary. This clip shows the fire hole door, and you can see what I mean. I'd like to raise a couple of points before I get on to the next bit. The pump is still screwed to its wooden base, which will be removed, and at the moment it's sat on a footstep which is below the cutout in the bunker tank, where the two-man crew would climb on board the engine if it was a full-size one. But it's not, so I could fit the pump here, because I'm the driver and I sit on a driving truck at the back. Then of course is another issue. Can you see the winch cable around the winch on the rear axle? Traction engines were often fitted with these. All you do is pull the driving pin out of the wheel, chock the wheels, put the engine in gear and open the regulator, and you have a fully functioning winch. But the pump would be in the way of this, as the footstep on the engine is also in the way of the winch cable. Keeping things real though, I'm never going to use this winch, but to keep the purists happy, what I would do is make the pump a quick release device, and I won't be putting it in front of this curved part. I would mount it slightly further forward. I could mount it down by the injector, but I want to see it because it's a really nice thing. Before I go any further though, I need to test and see whether the injector works. I can't steam test it today, it's too warm and all my neighbours around where I live have their windows open. I live in a very small village in the middle of nowhere and I really don't want to end up as the sacrifice in a wicker man. So I'll wait until the weather gets a little bit cooler and the villagers close their windows. I'll leave you with this view of a potential location for the pump. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.